Episode 172. The bigger the better. Jake's cold face cracked.
Are you sure it's the stomach?
Serena's face was flushed, her hands on her pubic bone. She stood up in pain and said, "Why didn't you knock? It hurts." Jake couldn't help glancing at her posture. He said calmly,
"This is my office."
She was rendered speechless. Noticing his glance, she immediately turned around and gave it a rub under her coat. Feeling awkward, Jake said in a deep voice,
"Be aware of your image."
Then he closed the door and sat down at his desk.
"What are you doing here?"
"Looking for you," she said matter-of-factly. But she realized quickly what she had said and whispered, "Grandpa said he wanted to eat that special kind of meat you brought him last time. I called you, but it didn't go through. Emma asked me to tell you that." He glanced at his cell phone on the desk. More than 30 unanswered calls. Most of them were about business, but 3 of them were from the old house and her. He took up the phone and answered,
"Got it."
His indifference let Serena down a little. She stood up straight and found it did not hurt that much. Taking her bag from the sofa, she said, "Then I'll leave now."
"Sit down."
Jake did not even look up.
"We can go together."
"It's okay. I drove here." However, Jake had already walked over and pushed her down. She wanted to say something when she saw him gesturing her to hush. Then, he answered the call in fluent Russian. So busy. He needed to call people back even after the meeting. She wanted to get up, but was held down by him. Her heart raced a little. Did he want to make her stay? With that thought, she felt a bit anxious. Sitting on the sofa, she pretended to be calm. It took him more than 15 minutes to make the phone call. She asked him, "Why aren't you letting me go?" Gazing at her deeply, Jake said in a cold tone,
"It's a festival, and we should try to cheer Grandpa up."
Serena felt sour and disappointed, as if her heart was drenched in vinegar. I see. That was why. Indeed, Grandpa hated to see them fighting. Serena was sure that Grandpa knew the 2 of them had been in a fight for more than a month. She suddenly thought of a ridiculous possibility. Did Grandpa arrange for this to happen? Glancing at her with his deep eyes, Jake took her bag and said,
"Let's go."
He quickly walked out the door, and Serena followed him. Noticing the admiring looks on the secretary's face, she slowed down. Would he be mad? In her previous lifetime, he had hated it when she walked beside him. This situation was eerily similar to that. On that thought, she slowed down, keeping her distance from him. He pressed the elevator button, looked to the side, and found she was not behind him. When he glanced back, he saw her hesitation. Arching an eyebrow, Jake asked in a displeased tone,
"What? Do I need to carry you here?"
The secretaries were in an uproar. Serena immediately blushed, quickly trotted to him in her heels, and entered the elevator. Before the elevator doors closed, she heard someone say, "They are so great together." Then the elevator doors closed, blocking all the noises. Serena felt a bit strange. So, in their eyes, Jake and her were happy together. But why didn't she feel that? She too wanted to feel what everyone thought the 2 of them to be. A happily in love married couple. But instead, her heart was filled with sadness.
"Where did you park?"
The sudden question left her a bit dumbstruck before she answered, "At the gate." Jake heard that and pressed the lobby. Quiet. It was incredibly quiet in the elevator. All she could hear was the machinery. Ding! They reached the first floor. She followed him out, and everyone looked in her direction. Under the people's gaze, she felt a bit nervous, bowing her head behind him. Suddenly, Jake stopped. Serena immediately bumped into him. Ouch! Covering her nose, she felt so sore that she immediately teared up. Looking up, her eyes filled with complaint. He glanced at her calmly and took an umbrella on the rack. It was a big umbrella. When she got here, the rain was no longer heavy. Since she had parked right at the gate, she jogged inside without taking an umbrella. However, the rain was now pouring again, flooding the streets. Everyone was walking fast. When she was about to grab another umbrella, he took her hand and pulled her away. Hey, wait a second! Serena was almost lifted up by him. Wearing heels, she almost lost her balance. Jake did not listen to her and yanked her forward. He opened the umbrella and put an arm around her neck, walking to her car. Serena was dumbstruck. How did he know which car was hers? He had never seen it before. They had not seen each other in so long. Open the door. He glanced at her. It's raining heavily and it's cold. She quickly unlocked the car. Jake opened the door on the driver's side but did not go inside, glancing at her. She immediately understood and got in. He shut the door and sat on the co-pilot seat. As soon as possible, he sat down, frowned and grunted.
How is this so compact?
Of course, it could not be compared with your giant car. Serena murmured and started the engine.
We'll get you a bigger one later.
I actually happen to like a small one. The rain was too heavy for her to see clearly, so she turned the headlights on.
A small one is no good,
Jake said with contempt. The important thing is I like it. It's none of your business.
I thought you were used to my bigger one.
When Serena was about to retort, she suddenly thought of something. With a blush, she gave him a stare and cried, Jake, you're a creep! Jake arched an eyebrow and looked at her puzzled.
I'm talking about the car. What are you thinking?
She paused and blushed even more. Seeing the tease in his eyes, she hit the steering wheel and turned her head back. Slowly buckling his seatbelt, he asked,
Don't you think the bigger, the better?
Serena's hands twitched as she growled, Could you please shut up?